expectations have not changed, despite, by the way, Phil Perry is down at that practice. Marc Bertrand from 98.5 The Sports Hub here in studio with us on Arbella Early Edition. So despite what you've seen this week, and you've been at camp a lot, there isn't part of you who says, maybe I did underestimate this team a little bit. They might be better than I originally thought.
I'll say this. If there was going to be any movement in my prediction, it was not going to be positive movement. It was going to be negative. And so what I've seen this week, to me, gives me more confidence that they will, in fact, be an 8 or 9 win team.
In fairness, Phil, I did start on the very low end. Like when I first went through, I actually tallied up and was like, ooh, 5 wins. That's a real bad, that's a really bad season. So maybe I've just come up to the median.
Trenni. I'm just glad that you're on board with what I've been trying to tell you now for months, probably since the schedule came out. I had them at 9 wins when I had to go back and predict all 17 games for NBCSportsBoston.com, and I'm not moving off that spot yet. To be moved, I think you would have had to have been surprised by some of the things you've seen through 8 practice, and I really haven't. If you want to lay out the surprises, it's Pop Douglas at receiver. Maybe a negative surprise would be how little Tyquan Thornton has done. I didn't anticipate that we wouldn't have seen Trent Brown very much, or Matthew Judon for that matter, but I'm okay with those guys missing some time so long as they're healthy come the regular season. So I'm still right at 9 wins. While some of this stuff has been positive for sure, I'm not necessarily ready to say that they're a playoff team and that they're going to win 11.
Yeah, is it too soon, Phil, to get overly excited about the offense from what you've seen?
No question, and it starts on the offensive line. Again, Trent Brown, to me, is one of the most important players on this team, if not the most important player outside of Mac Jones, because what they have at tackle right now is a problem. Connor McDermott, in a perfect world, and I was told this by someone in the league right after they brought him back again, he's a perfect 4 in the NFL. He's not a starting caliber tackle that you want to run out there on a consistent basis, but he looks like their right tackle right now, like starting week 1. And Riley Reif, as expected in some ways, hasn't been impressive. So to me, this is one of the most important positions on the field for a reason. While the offense has been good lately, Beetle, if this was real tackle football out there at some of these practices, the offense would not look nearly as good as it has.
Yeah, there would have been dozens of sacks just the last couple of days alone, and I think that this is an issue that's going to loom large over this team. It's the tackle spot on both sides. Trent Brown obviously more important at left tackle than right tackle, but this is going to be something that can undo all of the positive things the Patriots have done offensively.
Yeah, that offensive line, I think, is everyone's biggest concern. Well, one thing that I said has not been a concern, the defense, because we've all had optimism because it's returning everyone but Devin McCourty. Last year, the Patriots ranked 2nd in takeaways and 3rd in sacks while holding opponents to just 20 points per game. And since then, they've used their top 3 draft picks on defenders, including first-round pick Christian Gonzalez, as we welcome Amina Smith into the conversation. Phil, are we, again, you said maybe we're getting a little overhyped about the offense and what we've seen. I think we all went into training camp expecting a lot from the defense, maybe even to carry that offense through the first half of the season as they sort of get a rhythm under them. Are we getting a little too excited, putting a little bit too much on this defense and what they might be capable of?
I think it's a good defense. I think it's a solid defense. Is it the number 1 defense in the NFL, which is what they were rated when it comes to weighted DVOA, advanced analytics stuff mixed into that? No, I don't think they are that. And there are still questions to me on that side of the ball. Christian Gonzalez is one. I think even though he had a really good start to camp, the last couple of days you've seen him giving up more and more in the way of catches. That's okay. Those are expected rookie growing pains. But that's still a question mark. How consistent is he going to be? What's he do when he does fail, inevitably? Because there are some questions, or there were at least around draft time, about his quote-unquote football character. And then up front, what are they going to get from Matthew Judon when he is out on the field? I would say that's the giant caveat sort of looming over this defense. I think what we have seen from them would be much better had their best offensive player been out there. He hasn't participated in a single padded practice yet.
I think that we all have been optimistic about the defense because we have no idea what this offense is going to look like. There's still room to grow for that offense. But I take a look at the Patriots defense, and honestly, Trenni, I'm not really worried about it. Everyone is talking about Matt Judon not being out there in padded practice. It's just like he said, you know what he could do on Sundays. Maybe one concern for me is Christian Barmore, if he could stay healthy and battle out in the trenches for the regular season. Jack Jones, another concern in terms of what's what's going on with him off of the field. But on the field, Jack Jones, we know that he's a playmaker. So, and of course, the hype train with Christian Gonzalez as well. So I'm not really too worried about the defense, but I could see how people are overly optimistic about it because of just how shaky the offense is.
You're not worried about them, Amina, but do you feel good about them? I mean, you just raised some pretty big question marks, right? Like, we're not exactly sure what they're going to get out of that secondary, especially depending on what happens with Jack Jones. But also last year, they really fattened up their statistics against okay and mediocre teams and did not do as much against the really good ones.
I honestly feel good about the defense. I'm not worried about the defense in terms of just the talent that's on the defense, not worried about that. But I am worried about the availability. I'm not going to lie, Trenni. I'm worried about the availability just a little bit. But again, because the offense is so shaky, it's like, come on, let us have something nice. Let us have something to just be a little bit happy about coming into the season.